All right, so before we export this as a Chrome extension, I want to do a little bit of just cleanup and some styling, just to make this look a little bit nicer. And a real product, I would spend more time on styling and all of that, but the focus of this tutorial is more on getting a Chrome extension with OpenSea put together. But I do want it to kind of look nice and not be confusing for you. So let's do a couple things. First thing we want to do is this section up top that has all your MetaMask info and shows the signing in and all of that. That is great, but I want to hide it once you're getting into your collections. So let's do, in this flow, get collection for wallet. Once we set the collection data into our grid row, I want to hide that MetaMask section. So I'm going to add an action here and say element hide completely, and we'll put a weight in between. And the element I want to hide is my div MetaMask. So that'll just hide that once our collections have loaded. The other thing I want to do is I want to have a little bit more clear delineation between collections. And so this styling right here isn't great for that because it's a little bit harder to see kind of where a collection ends and all that. So I'm just going to add some spacing and maybe a divider between the two. So on our collection row page, we have this div collection. This has a good amount of spacing already. It's this bottom one, the div assets, that has the grid list in it that I want to add some more spacing to in a border. So I'm just going to go into spacing, and on the bottom, let's add a margin of, let's say 10 pixels and a padding of 10 pixels. And then I want to have a border. So we'll go to border and outline, and we'll do border bottom 1 pixel, and we'll pick like a lighter gray color. So that should have a nice, little border there. Let's test that out. Okay, so the MetaMask is gone. I'm not seeing my border here. So let's take a look at what I did there. Border bottom, oh, I forgot to set this to solid. So we'll do 1 pixel solid. That's pretty good. Maybe a little bit more spacing. Maybe we'll set the margin to 20 pixels. Yeah, that looks better. That looks better. I'll make the gray a little bit lighter so it's not so obvious. Again, this is just some basic styling. Please don't judge my design skills off of this tutorial. All right, so now I've got some spacing. We can see the floor price. If I click on it, it loads my assets. The next thing I want to do is I want to change the color of these last sale prices so that if I bought it below the current floor price, I want it to be green, meaning I'm at a profit. If I bought it above the current floor price, I want it to show red so I can see that I'm currently at a loss. So we'll do that here on our asset row. So in our flows, if you remember, we have a check last sale price. Check last sale flow. And this just looks to see if it exists or not. If the last sale does exist, then it displays it. On this display last price right now, we're just setting the value of the price. I want to add another check to compare it against the floor price and then change the color. So let's add another action and call it condition, compare values. And the values, I'll put a weight in here. The values that we want to compare, the first would be that last price. So we're going to say from an element value, and this is last price. And we want to compare this to our floor price, which is on the parent page. So test value 2 is going to be from a variable on the parent page. And that variable is, let's just check it to make sure we know what this is called. Stats.floorprice. Glad I checked it because I would have guessed wrong. All right, so we're going to compare it to parent page stats.floorprice. And we're going to see if it is less than. And actually, we're going to see if it's greater than, because if it's greater than, we'll turn it red. If it's less than or equal to, we'll leave it green. So greater than, we want a new flow, which will be set last price red. We'll call it style last price red. Let's do that, and then we'll have another one, style last price green. There we go. Go back to our compare. All right, so if this last price is higher than the floor, we want to set it to red. If it's not higher to the floor, meaning if it's less than or equal to the floor price, we'll style it green. Now let's go into these and set this style. So on style last price, we're going to add an action, and we will search for set style property, element set style property. The element is our last price. Property is color, and we need a value. So this is setting it to green. Excuse me, the green would be 00FF00 if I'm not mistaken. We will find out if I'm right on that. And for red, you know what I'll do is I'll copy this action, paste it into red. If I've got my RGB values right, then this should be FF0000. So let's test this out. We'll refresh, connect, and let's open up one of these. And there we go. So this is now working as intended. It sets the last price to green if it's lower than the floor price, red if it's higher than the floor price. Let's find... There's another collection I want to show, and it's more than 20. So let's go here. Get collections. What I'm doing is in my get collections for wallet, I had a limit set to 20 collections. I'm going to change that to 50 just so I can load another collection where I know I have a good amount of tokens that are above the floor price. Let's look at this one. Okay, so Bliss of Art. Here we go. These are all, I bought them below the floor price, I should say, so they have all turned green. So that gives you an example of how you can set, just some visual cues so that at a glance I can see where I'm at in comparison to the floor price. So that's kind of all I wanted to do in this lesson. The last thing we'll do next is we will just export this to a Chrome extension.